answer before that one, before 7.
Okay.
Okay, good morning class. Today I want us to look at food microbiology. Now previously we had looked at the food spoilage and food contamination and various forms of food contamination as well as various forms of food spoilage. Now today I want us to look at control of microorganisms in food, how you can control various microbes in the food to avoid the food spoilage and also to minimize the contamination of the food. Now we have various methods that you can apply. Number one is controlling the access by the microorganisms. Now this one you can control by cleaning. Basically cleaning, you wash away the surface microorganisms from the food. Now you can use clean water, of course clean water. You can use clean water with soap, or you can just wash thoroughly by clean water. You can also do, apart from cleaning, you can also do what is called sanitation. Basically, it's the practice of hygiene. Ensure that where you place the food is very clean, sanitized. The environment where you package the food also is very clean. That is all about sanitation. Also, where you store the food is very clean. Now, another way of controlling the access of the microorganism is through disinfection. Disinfection basically means you introduce disinfectants. These are compounds, chemical compounds, which are able to damage the cells, the content of the microorganisms, which normally result to spoilage. Now, also you can use chlorine, you can use peroxide. Now, these particular organisms and compounds are able to denature the microorganisms and also kill them, what we normally call thermal death. Now, apart from controlling the access of microorganisms to the food by cleaning, sanitation, disinfection, we can also do what is called physical removal. Now, in physical removal, we are applying centrifugation, and also we are applying the filtration, trimming, as well as washing. Now, when we talk about centrifugation, this is whereby the food, okay, especially the fruits, okay, they are subjected to some force to minimize the presence of the microorganisms, okay. That force is able to either kill the microorganisms or reduce the level of their concentration in the food. You can also do what is called filtration. You can use filters. This one also is able to remove the debris which normally carry the microorganisms in the food, for example the dust and so on. You can also do what is called trimming. Trimming is very important. Trimming is able to remove the microorganisms from the fruits. For example, you can trim the vegetables, you can trim the fruits by removing the peels. That way you are able to remove the surface microorganisms from the food, and therefore it will help you to minimize the presence of the microorganisms in the food, which may result in the food spoilage or food contamination. Now you can also do washing. As we already mentioned, you can wash your particular food thoroughly, especially the one which are taken raw, for example the fruit, vegetables. Make sure that you wash them thoroughly to avoid any contamination. You can wash also thoroughly the utensils that you use in preparing the food, as well as the surface where you prepare the food must be thoroughly washed. That way you are going to be able to minimize or rather control the microorganisms from the food. Now, having mentioned the control of access as well as the physical removal, we also have what is called thermal or heat treatment. That is subjecting the food to some amount of heat. Okay? Now, when you cook the food, you kill the microorganisms. There's some temperature which are able to kill the protein cover of the microorganism, for example, the bacteria. When you introduce some amount of heat, like boiling, or you can stew, you're able to kill the microorganisms in the food. Now also, you can also control the microbes in the food by what is called ice chilling. That is, you subject the food to low temperatures of about between 4 and 5 degrees Celsius. That temperature is going to inhibit the growth of microorganisms in the food. You can also do what is called refrigeration. Basically, refrigeration is subjecting the food to temperatures of around 0 degrees Celsius to about minus 20 degrees Celsius. That food is going to be able to last longer. The shelf life is going to increase because the growth of the microorganisms is inhibited in the particular food. You can also do what is called freezing. Freezing basically now is a form of refrigeration in which the food is subjected to much lower temperature than what we have in the refrigeration. You can do freezers, which can be able to inhibit the growth of the microorganisms. Now also, we want to mention about the reducing water activity, another method in which you can control the microorganisms in the food by reducing the water activity. Water activity is basically contribute a lot to the multiplication and the growth of microorganisms in the food. So you can reduce the water content in the food by freeze drying, okay? That is very low temperatures like minus 100, minus 196, able to dry the food using the ice. Smoking also is a form of drying. Smoke the food is able to drive out the microorganisms from the food. You can also do dry dehydration or drying, that is you aerate the food in the sun or in a hot environment to remove the water or the moisture. So those are the ways you can be able to control the microorganism. Thank you. Thank you.